Vault 106. When you first walk into the broken down halls of this vault in Fallout 3, everything looks pretty normal, but there's something much darker going on underneath. The structure was finished in 2069 under Dr. Albert Laris and was supposed to house 107 people for over 12 years. But here's the twisted part. 10 days after they sealed everyone inside, the air system started pumping psychoactive drugs right into people's rooms. The residents were told it was just a problem with the air filters, but vault-tec had planned this chemical attack on their minds from the beginning. As the hallucinogenic drugs spread through every breath, some people fell into dreamy, relaxed states, while others turned violent and aggressive. The security chief tried desperately to stop the chaos, but it was too late as the community destroyed itself. What makes Vault 106 especially disturbing is that the experiment never stopped. 200 years later, those same drugs are still flowing through the air, trapping anyone unlucky enough to wander inside. These victims end up walking the halls convinced they're the original vault dwellers, forever stuck in a drug-fueled nightmare that's been killing people for centuries. Vault 22. The researchers of Vault 22 made one hell of a promise. They'd create an agricultural paradise that could feed the whole post-nuclear world. This vault in the Mojave housed scientists working on advanced plant experiments to fight global hunger. The cruel irony is that their good intentions ended up dooming them all because of one terrible mistake. Among their research materials was something called Bovaria mordicana, a fungus designed to kill pests by taking over their bodies and controlling them after death. Unfortunately, the scientists learned too late that this fungus could infect humans just as easily. Dr. Harrison Peters was the first victim, getting sick with what looked like pneumonia before dying as the fungus rejected every treatment they tried. Soon after, the infection spread through the vault's air like wildfire. When people died, the fungus brought them back as aggressive spore carriers whose only job was spreading the infection to more victims. The desperate scientists tried to stop it by releasing gas in the lower levels, but that just made the infected creatures more violent. By 2096, everyone was either dead or had run away, leaving behind a vault completely overrun by the very plants they thought would save humanity. Vault 19. Buried beneath a Nevada parking lot, you'll find proof of one of vault-tec's nastiest psychological tricks. The people living in Vault 19 were split into red and blue sections with barely any contact between them, and each side had their own overseer running things. Seemed harmless enough, but vault-tec had deliberately selected residents with paranoid tendencies, then built a pressure cooker designed to create tension between the two groups. Strange high-pitched sounds would echo through the halls, weird air drafts came from the vents, and lights would blink in patterns that looked like some kind of code. Both sides blamed the other group for all these weird things happening, not knowing their own overseers were creating the problems on purpose. As the suspicion grew, people became convinced the other color was drugging them, breaking their stuff, and planning to kill them. The mind games worked perfectly as the community split apart, with each side seeing the other as deadly enemies. What makes this experiment so cruel is how normal people with no real reason to fight were tricked into destroying each other through fake threats. By the time escaped prisoners found Vault 19 in 2281, the original people had long since left, victims of an experiment that showed how easy it is to turn communities against themselves. Vault 4. Deep under the ruins of Hawthorne Medical Laboratories, the Fallout TV series showed us what looked like vault-tec's nicest experiment at first. The vault was run by Lloyd and Cassandra Hawthorne, two big-name DNA researchers. They brought in 80 volunteer scientists for a secret project meant to develop humanity's capabilities through genetic improvements, but this unlimited and unchecked power would eventually lead to their downfall. The researchers did horrible mutation experiments, mixing captured wastelanders with radiation-resistant animals to create monsters like gulpers. One especially disturbing recorded test showed a woman giving birth to a bunch of gulpers that then ate her alive right in the birthing tank. The scientists carefully wrote down every cruel thing they did, treating human suffering like it was just data for their research. This brutal treatment finally made the test subjects fight back, and they let the mutated creatures loose on the people who had tortured them. Overseer Hawthorne and his wife tried to hide, but the gulpers broke through their barricade and killed them both. Even as he was dying, Hawthorne refused to admit he was wrong, still insisting that mixing humans with radiation-resistant species was a good idea. The survivors then turned Vault 4 into a democracy that welcomed refugees, but the genetic damage from the experiments passed down to their kids, causing random mutations that still remind everyone of what the scientists did. Vault 77. Being completely alone can drive anyone crazy, but no one went insane quite like the single guy locked in Vault 77. On the day the vault was sealed, the man we now call Puppet Man thought being alone in there was some kind of mistake and kept begging for other people to be let in. But as months of total isolation turned into years, it really messed with his head. His mental state got worse and worse until February 2079, when he found a crate of hand puppets that became his only friends in that empty vault. What started as harmless fun quickly turned into something dangerous as Puppet Man got lost in elaborate puppet games and conversations. By March 30th, he truly believed the Vault Boy puppet was actually talking to him, which was when his grip on reality completely snapped. Things got really bad when Puppet Man ripped apart the King puppet and blamed the Vault Boy puppet for the murder, only for his puppet friend to tell him that he was the real killer. Scared of what the dog puppet might do next, both Puppet Man and his imaginary buddy ran away from the vault together. Vault 94. In the swampy depths of Appalachia, the ruins of Vault 94 tell the story of an experiment designed to see if peaceful religious groups could survive when the world turned violent. The vault was home to a farming religious community led by Pastor Gabriela Salazar, and everyone there believed in faith, nonviolence, sharing everything, and living in harmony with nature. Instead of having one overseer boss everyone around, the community made decisions together through a voting system where everyone got a say. Vault-tec gave them plenty of supplies but no weapons or armor, then told them to open their doors to desperate, armed survivors from the wasteland. After exactly 1 year, Pastor Salazar started sending Vault people out into the wasteland to invite survivors back to their safe place. Many of these messengers were tortured and killed by raiders, but the community's commitment to nonviolence stopped them from learning how to fight back. The whole experiment ended tragically in November 2078 when suspicious survivors from Harper's Ferry showed up and massacred the council because they thought the kindness was a trap. In one final act of stupid destruction, these wastelanders shot the Vault's GEC device, causing a massive nuclear explosion that poisoned the whole area and turned it into the mutated swamp called the Mire. This disaster proves that sometimes the cruelest thing you can do isn't torture people directly, but put good people in impossible situations where being good gets them killed. Vault 111. The promise of safety from nuclear destruction hid a much darker truth about Vault 111 in Fallout 4. When the bombs started falling, the desperate families from Sanctuary Hills and Concord rushed to the vault, thinking they'd be saved from the nuclear apocalypse. Instead, they got tricked into entering freezing pods under the lie that it was for decontamination, not knowing they were being frozen forever for vault-tec's experiments. The vault's small staff kept things running according to their orders at first, but when supplies ran low after 180 days and no all-clear signal came, things went to hell fast. The overseer wouldn't open the vault even when the staff begged him to, because he was scared the radiation outside was still too dangerous. This caused a violent fight between the security team and the administration that ended with everyone on staff dead, leaving the frozen families completely abandoned. The experiment got even darker in 2227 when the Institute found the vault and its perfectly preserved people. Among those people was the protagonist's own family, 2 parents and their infant son. They shot one parent in cold blood while their spouse watched helplessly from their pod, then kidnapped the couple's baby for his pure DNA. The surviving parent stayed frozen for another 60 years until their grown-up son, now running the Institute, decided to wake them up as part of his own twisted experiment, and that was when the sole survivor emerged from Vault 111. Vault 81. Of all Vault-tec's horrible experiments, this one stands out because it was actually stopped by someone who chose to do the right thing. The Vault was supposed to develop a cure for every disease humans could get, but the people living there were meant to be unwilling test subjects who'd get infected through hidden spray nozzles in their rooms. Dr. Olivet, the Vault's first overseer, found out about the real plan during her final briefing and made a choice that saved hundreds of lives. Instead of letting Vault-tec's scientists use the residents as lab rats, she messed with the call list so most of the research team wouldn't show up, then broke the systems that would have made people sick. Her actions trapped 3 scientists in the secret lab area where they kept doing their research on animals instead of people. One of these scientists, Dr. Collins, upgraded a robot assistant named Curie to help with the work, accidentally creating an AI that would eventually perfect the universal cure in 2204. Meanwhile, everyone in the main vault lived normal, healthy lives with no idea about the experiment they'd been saved from or the secret part of their home. The vault opened to the outside world in 2277, becoming one of the few working vault communities left in the wasteland. The experiment's real impact showed up during Fallout 4, when the past came back to bite them through diseased mole rats that had escaped the labs decades earlier, finally forcing people to face the horrible fate Dr. Olivet had protected them from. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you being here. If you want more Fallout lore, hit like and subscribe. There's plenty more coming.